Hi, I'm Alexis, and this is a quick run-through of the boss mechanics in the new dungeon Operation Floodgate, released in Season 2 of the War Within expansion. Before we start, please consider leaving a like and subscribe. It'll help my channel grow and I'll be able to put out more content more often. The entrance to this dungeon is in the Ringing Deeps, as shown on the map. Your mission is to defeat a total of 4 bosses that infiltrated the Waterworks Dam with their crooked Dark Fuse project. The first boss is Big M.O.M.A. On Mythic difficulty, Big M.O.M.A is accompanied by 4 Dark Fuse mecha drones. You need to defeat these as fast as you can, as when a drone dies, Big M.O.M.A's energy is reduced by 25. Their abilities include Maximum Distortion. This can be interrupted or else it will inflict AoE damage to players within 60 yards, pushing them away every 2 seconds for 16 seconds. Shoot. The drones select a random player and fire quick shots at them. And Doomstorm. A line of blue circles forms on the ground towards a random player. Move out of the way before the drone charges, damaging the player and other players within 3 yards. In the meantime, you need to deal with Big M.O.M.A as well. Her abilities include Electro Crush. This is the tank mechanic which crushes the target with an electrified claw, and additional nature damage every second for 10 seconds. Sonic Boom. Big M.O.M.A shoots out a pulse of sonic energy towards a player. You will get damaged and silenced if you're hit. The pulse will explode when it hits any sort of obstacle and causes damage to players within 7 yards, so try to aim the sonic boom to let it travel further away before exploding. Kilo Block Barrier. Big M.O.M.A surrounds herself with an electric barrier, reducing all damage taken by 80% and damaging players every 2.5 seconds. Quickly break down this barrier. When the mecha drones are all defeated, Big M.O.M.A will cast Jumpstart to revive the drones. During this cast, the boss will take 200% increased damage, but at the same time will do an AoE damage to all players. At the end of the cast, the ground is electrified. Players need to move out to avoid damage. So in short, clear the ads, burst damage during Jumpstart, and keep going until the boss is defeated. The next boss, or group in this case, is Demolition Duo. Here we have 2 bosses, Geezle Quick Fuse and Bront. Geezle's abilities include BBBFG, which stands for Blazing Ballistic Blunt Force Gun. You will see orange beams sprouting on the ground. Players hit by these will receive damage and are knocked upwards. Big Bada Boom. Bombs will fall in the place of these brown circles, which will explode after 30 seconds. A random player is then targeted with Kinetic Explosive. The player that gets targeted needs to run on bombs. The debuff can now be dispelled. The player will receive damage, so be ready to use the defensive, but the bombs will get knocked upwards and explode in the air. Be careful, cause the bombs will now rain the remains of the bomb in the marked red circles on the ground, damaging players within 4 yards of impact, so be sure to move away. Now for Bront. This guy needs to be tanked while Geezle does her own thing. Wallop is the tank ability, where the boss hits the current target with physical damage and knocks up any players within 5 yards. And Barreling Charge. A random player is targeted and the boss runs towards them, damaging the player and any players in its path and stunning them for 2 seconds, so move away. This ability can also be aimed at bombs to knock them away. Both bosses need to be defeated at the same time, because when one boss dies, the other boss becomes buffed and their damage is increased by 20% every 4 seconds. And if Bront is the one left alive, he will start repeatedly walloping players and continuously knocking them upwards. The next boss is Swampface. On Mythic, players are entangled in pairs, which forces the paired players to move together. Moving far away from each other will yank players back together. Mudslide is a frontal damage, just move out of the way. Awaken the Swamp. The boss repeatedly smashes the ground, damaging players. And skewering roots will burst from the ground, make sure you avoid standing in these. The roots will eventually burst and create tides, which will move out from the marked areas. So entangled players need to move together to avoid the tides. And the last ability is Sludge Claws, which is the tank ability. Damaging the target and its muddy gashes will absorb over 7 million healing, so healers be sure to heal up the tank. The final boss is Geezle Gigazap. The abilities are Turbocharge, blue beams emerge from the boss on the ground, going round and covering the floor area. Make sure you step out of them. Players also receive continuous AoE damage while Turbocharge is still casting. Dam. The boss room shakes, causing rubble to fall from the ceiling, step out of the brown circles, and water will also leak from above. Any contact with electricity will transform the pool into shock water, which will electrify and stun any player standing in it. Leaping Sparks. Sparks jump across the room towards random players. If these jump over the water puddles, the puddle will change into shock water. On Mythic difficulty, these sparks will continue to chase players until they are finally diffused in the water. Gigazap. Random players are targeted with an electric circle, which will eventually shock the player, inflicting ticking damage over 8 seconds. This can also change the puddles into shock water, but try to avoid doing so to make sure you have enough left over to defuse the leaping sparks. So if you get the circle, just stand out of the way of the puddles and other players, and use a defensive to help out the healer. And the final ability is Thunder Punch, which is the tank ability. Geezle hits the tank with physical damage, knocks them back, and leaves ticking damage for 4 seconds. And that's the overall guide on how to defeat the bosses in Operation Floodgate. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Good luck in your dungeon adventures, and thank you for watching.